Hello! 24 hours ago I put up a post on my Insta story saying Q&A on both my photography page and my personal page. A whole bunch of questions came flooding in and I'm going to go through them kind of like a coffee with Karthik, just without the coffee part. And it's almost like a rapid fire round, if you will. I'm not going to reveal who the names are because some of them are slightly embarrassing, but I will answer them. Oh, and before I do that, like, comment, and subscribe. A whole bunch of you are watching this, but you don't do that, so if you can, that'd be wonderful. Alright, here we go. What's the hardest thing you've found about being a wedding photographer? I would say the hardest thing perhaps is expectation management. You know, clients don't really know about what goes down during weddings, and so your role as a photographer is not just to do photography, but to also manage their expectations and guide them along throughout the event. That's one of the things I've realized earlier on in my career, which I suppose I'm now grateful for having realized, I suppose. How, why, and when did you go from a photographer to a wedding photographer? That's a big question, I suppose. How, I guess I did it from capturing a whole bunch of events that weren't weddings first, to just build up the experience and the confidence as well when it comes to, you know, events photography. When, I would say perhaps within my first year, I ended up capturing my first wedding. So again, it started off with like just birthdays and stuff like that beforehand, but then it I suppose developed, which is good. Why? Why? Because I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I think for me, you know, it's fun to be part of a couple special day. And, you know, I think the concept of love is really wonderful. To be a part of it is truly phenomenal. And to document it all through my love for the craft, well, that's just a blessing. So I really appreciate that. How do you find the balance between photography and a social life? What's a social life? Look, that's a good question. I think for me, usually weekends are, you know, the busiest working days, which makes sense. So for the days that I'm not working, a large part of it just comes down to doing what I effectively want to do across a 5-day working weekend, as opposed to, say, you know, just 2 days, which is the Saturday, Sunday. But it's almost the exact same thing. Like, I make time for myself, I go and see my friends, and you know, do stuff online, socials, I make YouTube videos, I go to dance, stuff like that. It's fun, like I really enjoy it. So, do you let guests touch your biceps? You know exactly who you are who asked this question, and I'm not going to give you a raunchy answer, so no, I did not let guests touch my biceps. Has a bride criticized your pic, but in reality her looks are responsible for how the pic looked? Oh man, that's a tough question. The short answer is no. I suppose for brides who criticize my work, it's either because, if on the unlikely scenario something's missing, it's because of that, or maybe something wasn't done properly. But it's never been because of the way she looked, or the bride looked in particular. So touch wood, unfortunately, that hasn't happened. Have you ever got on hit by a bride? Have you ever got on hit on by a bride? I think that question was supposed to say, have you ever got hit on by a bride? No. I'd be a bit concerned if that were to happen on a wedding day. You know, especially assuming that she's going to marry the love of her life. Capture my 21st birthday, please. With the emoji crying face. I used to do 21st, I don't do them anymore, but I do have one booked in just for this year for the lols. It's so funny, it's actually where I started when it comes to events photography. But now it's just really fun because I guess you get to, you know, interact with the younger crowd, and yeah, there's a lot less pressure on the day. I need you to take a photo from my phone, please. Yeah, I'm triggered now. Thank you very much. How will you get married? I haven't thought that far, but from what I understand about weddings so far, I think the smaller intimate ones are the way to go. So, you know, if I had to say in the matter, probably like a small mandir ceremony or small like temple or whatever, yet with like literally the most immediate closest people in my life, and that's it. Do you have someone you look up to in your industry / line of work? I do. There is a photographer in Toronto, Canada, I believe, Amrit Photography. Highly recommend you guys to check out their work. Absolutely phenomenal photographer. And yeah, they're just their editing style, the way they take portraits, the way they position and compose their couples, plus the locations. Absolutely stunning. Highly recommend you guys to like check out their content. But yeah, they definitely inspire me to be a better photographer. So shout out to them. Are arranged marriage pre-shoots awkward? Yes. Like, it's awkward, let alone getting photos done, you know, with a photographer that you've perhaps never met in your entire life. I don't think the added awkwardness of not knowing who your life partner is supposed to be just fuels that entire process. So Yeah, that is shit awkward, absolutely. What do you suggest if couples are not too comfortable with each other in posing? You know, I recently bought a game, it's like a card game where you ask each other a bunch of questions, and in doing that, it's supposed to generate laughter, you know, that organic reaction. Those are the things I think help. I usually just have a conversation with my couples and ask them questions about each other other than that, or I might get them to do like completely silly and absurd things. And the benefit of that is just it takes away from the whole posy sort of stuff, and it's more organic, it's more natural, and you just get that authentic reaction. Do girls throw themselves at you? What? You know what? Yes, they do. Yeah, sometimes on the dance floor they might bump into each other and be like, oh, sorry. That's kind of like throwing themselves at me, right? I'm gonna say yes. I'm gonna say yes to that question. Yeah, absolutely. How did you book your first wedding? That's a great question. I could create another YouTube video on this, but long story short, it was a ton of free work, a ton of birthdays, parties, engagements, sangeets, mehndis, everything but basically a wedding for someone to then realize, oh, and also a couple pre-shoots, for someone to then realize that, hey, you know what, this guy's got somewhat of a talent, let's give him a shot. How much you charge? It's a bit of a vague question. Like, how long's a piece of string? Like, how big's the universe? I think I need a bit more detail around that. So if you could just let me know, that'd be wonderful. Thank you. Have you ever photographed anything other than weddings? Yeah, when I first started, I was a 21st birthday photographer. I did 18ths, I've done maternity shoots, baby showers, just random small events, clubbing photography. Yeah, and it's different. So yeah. What do you think of drones inside a reception venue? I mean, that's incredibly silly, but hey, I've seen it done before, and I don't think it's a good idea. I just think there's a lot of damage that could be done from that if it's not done properly. Unless you've got a phenomenal drone pilot, then go for gold. But I don't think most venues allow stuff like that, so I can't really comment. Best time and location for pre-shoot: early morning, beach, forest, anything particular to look? Look, I guess it's kind of subjective, but also it depends on the vision that the couple and you guys might have together. Anything almost works. I prefer sunsets just for a couple of reasons. The convenience of the time of day. Sunrises are a bit too early and also harder for the girls, I've realized. But yeah, I've shot in beaches, forests, city streets. I've shot in, like, you know, quirky, darker areas. I've shot in, I don't know, just random places that perhaps people wouldn't really consider a location. Anything can actually almost work. How long before should they start capturing the getting ready part? How long is needed ideally? You know what, I break this down, funny you say, in a recent YouTube video talking about how to have a seamless bride prep experience. Maybe you should go check that out. Look, I mean, minimum an hour, max 2-3 hours. How important is it to have a pre-wedding shoot? Very important, good question. I think for me, it's about getting to know your couple just beforehand, and for them to get comfortable with who you are. It works, you know, vice versa. What do you do when you're not doing wedding photography? A few things actually. Emails, admin, consults, Zoom calls, editing. So that's just work related. When I'm not doing those things, dancing, cooking, reading, looking at finance charts. I know, how riveting, right? Badminton, which I'm about to go play tonight. I'm so excited for. Play pottery making, which I'm going on Friday. Shit, I just realized I'm actually quite social. I'm doing pretty well, not bad. That's probably about it for now. When can I try your mushroom soup again? For those of you who don't know, I have this very famous mushroom soup recipe. It's mind-blasting. It's mind-blasting. And yeah, people tend to like it. So you can try it whenever you want. Anybody else who I don't know, I mean, you could also try it too if you want. If you had to start over, but with what you know now, what's the first thing you would do? That's a good question. You know what? I would keep almost ideally the same, except I wouldn't be as harsh on myself. I think one of the things I've realized as a photographer, especially when you're first starting out, you just want to grow so fast. You want to get to the end goal, and you just started, right? Like, there is no end goal, first of all. You're just constantly learning and you're constantly improving. But I was really harsh on myself. Like, I looked at other people's work and I'm like, man, how do I get to the way they photograph? Like, how do I become that photographer? Like, how do I become that talented? With all good things, it just takes time. So be patient and not criticize yourself for not being the best that you possibly could be. It takes time. That was a good question. Do girls come and ask for your number at weddings? Yes. Yes, they do. Because they want to know about wedding photography and what my charges are. Yeah, I bet you didn't think of that one down, did you? Why are you so amazing? Oh, why are you so amazing? Thank you. When am I seeing you next? The door's always open. Seriously, come anytime. Favorite moment in an Indian wedding to shoot? Oh man, there's so many. But if I had to really narrow it down, probably the shoe game where like the bride steals the groom's shoes, you know, so that they can get some money. Yeah, that becomes quite heated. Yeah, I've seen people get tackled for that shit. That's pretty intense. How do you handle wet weather or harsh sunlight on the day? Oh, look, that's a great question. Either way, you could use it both creatively to your advantage, but you are a limitation sometimes depending on how you see it. If it's wet weather, look, you just play around with a couple, ask them if they're comfortable getting wet, or if they have an umbrella to get some cute umbrella shots. Otherwise, I try and keep them under shelter as much as possible, especially because, you know, they're dressed up really well. If it's in a harsh sunlight on the day, you can shoot with harsh sunlight. Either you shoot with backlight, or you just get really quirky creative shots and point there and position their like chin upwards towards the sun so that you don't get shadows under their eyes. Beyond that, I usually try and do my shoots towards the afternoon of the day. How long until our wedding photos are ready? We can't wait to see them. Okay, I captured your wedding 3 days ago. Calm down, give me a break. But they'll be done in a month's time, so stay tuned for that. Who's gonna photograph your wedding? Ooh, that's a good one. That is a good one. Look, probably my team, but if not, I would say maybe an overseas photographer. Like, I can't really decide at this point in time. When's the next pre-shoot giveaway? I don't think I'm gonna do one anytime soon, but maybe, you know, 10K followers on Instagram, which I'm about less than 4.5K away from. But you know, I was thinking I probably might not even do a pre-show, I'd probably do a wedding. So anyone getting married and within the 10K mark, stay tuned for that. Was it hard to tell your parents you wanted to pursue wedding photography? No, it kind of went like this. Mommy, Daddy, I want to do wedding photography. And they said, okay. And it just went from there. Just without the accent. Have you ever gone on a date with a bridesmaid before? No, I don't think I have. Yeah, no, that would have been awkward if I did and nothing really happened. Yeah, nah, definitely haven't, nah. What's your next photography milestone? Ooh, photographing a wedding overseas other than India. How many days prior do we need to book wedding photographers? Look, how long's a piece of string? It really just depends. I think it comes down to how busy your photographers are, or also the date that you're looking at. Sometimes some dates are more popular than others. Weekends, for obvious sake, are booked out. Weekdays, not so much. So yeah, it really just depends. What camera and equipment do you think we need for a night reception, evening outdoor reception? Look, I would perhaps try and say if you can't bounce a flash off from a ceiling, because there is none, try and have 2 LEDs just situated near the main event, or try and shift your couples to more natural light or artificial light around the venue if they happen to have some. Invest in great low light cameras. So I'm shooting this on a Sony a7 III, but I also have Canon R6. Both are great in low light, so you know they handle, you know, noise quite well. Or shoot with prime lenses and go a bit more wide open, so it's like f2 if you're safe. So I hope that helps. Good luck, by the way. Let me know how that goes. Biggest mistake you made as a wedding photographer? Not planning enough. I think when I first started out, it was really difficult to figure out what I needed to plan for because I didn't really have much wedding experience. But as time got by and I got better and better at photography, I realized these are things I need to plan for in advance. So I would say biggest mistake is not planning enough. Okay, that was random. Beta, you're doing really well. Love, Auntie and Uncle from Brisbane. Oh, thank you, Auntie and Uncle from Brisbane. I love you guys too. Ever have a groom hit on you? No, I'm gonna say no to that. How come there's no Gora people on your Instagram page? Well, as a matter of fact, as of this week, there now officially is. Beyond that, no, as you can tell, my niche is South Asian weddings. Your best wedding photography lens? Sure, I think the 85 is a pretty good lens for me that I really love, or the 50, and I pretty much shoot wide open on both those two things. How did you learn how to photograph weddings? A lot of trial and error, You just click a button and see what happens. No, on a serious note, I think for me it was about capturing people first, which was at events coverage, say like 21st birthdays, baby showers, maternity shoots, stuff like that. Then from there, you realize that you can just transfer that across to a wedding. It just involves a significant importance on two people, the bride and groom. Ever seen a bride and groom fight on their wedding day? Yeah, I have. You know what? And it's safe to say that those two people are no longer together anymore. So that's a sucky situation. My fiance and I can't wait for you to capture our wedding. Can't wait to capture your wedding too. I'm super excited. Yay. When are you getting married? Did my mom send you? I feel like my mom sent you on that question. Are you my mom? Is my mom asking this question? I feel I'm not answering that one. No. What's the one thing you absolutely love about weddings that get you every time? Look, there's a few things, but I think the biggest thing is that if you look at a wedding day, right, it is the most likely event that your couple are going to be at their most emotionally high ever in their entire life. And the fact that you get to be part of it, like that still makes me go, holy shit, like I'm capturing someone's wedding day. Like this is a big deal. And I always get a little bit nervous before an event because I care that much about not screwing it up and I want to do a great job. So I would say it's just that reality that every wedding's a different wedding, every couple's a different couple, and people's journeys are different as well. So to be part of that it's actually really lovely. And I think I'm blessed to make it a career and to do something that I'm actually passionate about, and to celebrate with the couple who end up becoming, you know, good friends afterwards. So yeah, I would say that's probably the one thing. All right, guys, that was it. So, I mean, there was a lot of questions. I was rapid fire round over. There are some questions I deliberately had to skip because you know that shit was messed up from the stuff that you guys were asking. If you guys like this video, show it some love, hit that like button, comment down below, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next weekly video. Hope you have a lovely day. Cheers.